joined by Tommy Shepherd. He's the MP for Edinburgh East. And let's talk to Tommy about what just happened and why. Tommy, thanks for joining us. Why did you all decide to walk out of Parliament? Can you just explain to viewers what you're doing and why you decided to do it?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important to say, Beth, we've never done anything like this before, and we've been forced into it now. Yesterday, we were denied the opportunity to discuss the effect of the withdrawal bill, the EU withdrawal bill, on devolution, and for that matter, on the Irish border. The whole business was railroaded through in 19 minutes. And our leader today, at the Prime Minister's questions, raised this matter and asked her if she would bring forward some emergency legislation to deal with the fact that the consent of the Scottish Parliament, which is required, has not been obtained for this legislation. And really it was her dismissive attitude to Ian Blackford that led him to say, well, we wish to divide the House, which was understanding orders. That means you have a vote there and then, which would have the effect of disrupting the Prime Minister's questions. But it makes a point and it allows people to express a view. The Speaker accepted that that could happen, but insisted that Ian Blackford should wait. And because Ian Blackford did not want to wait and persisted saying we should have the vote now, he was then expelled from the House of Commons. And in solidarity with that, the rest of us walked out, because if we can't have our voice heard inside the House of Commons, we're going to try and have it heard outside the House of Commons.
Now, you might have heard Alberto Costa, the ministerial, to David Mundell. He argued that actually at the heart of all of this is just that the SNP want Scottish independence and you want to thwart the will of Parliament. You don't want to play ball with Parliament, and really what the long game is you just want a second referendum on independence. Is that fair or unfair?
Mr Costa's talking rubbish, as he usually does, to be honest. I mean, anybody that looks at how we've conducted ourselves here will know that we have always worked with the procedures, archaic though they are. We've always done the best using the method available to us to represent our constituents. So this is an extreme position that we have been forced into today. We didn't want to take this action. It's because we've been denied the opportunity to represent our constituents. And Mr Costa should know that this isn't just the view of the SNP. In the Scottish Parliament, there are 5 political parties. Four of them withheld consent to the legislation that's proposed by the United Kingdom government. Only the Tories, a small minority and commanding a small support in the polls, only they are pressing ahead with it. And that seems to me to be very arrogant from Mr Costa and Mr Mundell and the government ministers to do that and to refuse to listen. It's also constitutionally improper, which is why we are demanding the right of Scottish people and their representatives in the Scottish Parliament to have a say on this matter.
OK, just finally, the Prime Minister has set up a ministerial committee to speak to Nicola Sturgeon, to speak to other devolved assemblies about Brexit and how it affects all of the United Kingdom. Yeah. Do you not think that these discussions are better held there rather than just storming out in a huff?
Well, we didn't storm out in a huff. We left in solidarity after our leader was expelled by the Speaker, so we had little opportunity to do anything else. But the Joint Ministerial Committee, I think you're referring to, which does bring together the UK ministers with Scottish, Welsh and Northern Irish ministers, that does exist, but its purpose really is to look at how the arrangements will work after Brexit, what sort of committees there should be. And indeed, they're one of the sticking points, because the United Kingdom is using those discussions to try and force the devolved administrations in Scotland and Wales to comply with their policy, which is, you know, against the spirit of and the letter of the Devolution Act. So that's that in itself is one of the reasons why we've got to this impasse. But the Joint Ministerial Committee isn't really the proper forum for deciding this. This is legislation that is being made by the British Parliament, by the House of Commons and the House of Lords, and it should be open to all members of Parliament who are elected to represent their constituents to be able to do that and to advocate on behalf of the people that elected them.
Thank you, Mr Shepherd. Well, that was Tommy Shepherd there, giving the SNP point of view. We thought, didn't we, that the Brexit bill was going to be all about the meaningful vote and the arguments over the customs union. But the SNP have certainly put the issue of devolution back on the agenda today in a rather creative way, not in the Houses of Parliament, but here on College Green instead. Back to you, Jane.